This is the Our Auto Expert Podcast. Find us on air, online, on mobile, and on your smart speaker. Please subscribe at ourautoexpert.com. Our Auto Expert. Our Auto Expert. Our Auto Expert. Our Auto Expert. Now, here's the host of Our Auto Expert. Our Auto Expert. Nik Miles.
Welcome to the Fast Lane. Nik Miles is our auto expert. So drop it into gear. You've got a green flag. Here's Nik.
Welcome to this week's show. We are locally created, nationally celebrated, from the northwest to the southeast. This is America's car radio show. If you have a throttle, we'd love to feature it on the show. On air, online, on mobile, or on smart speaker. This is our auto expert. I'm your host, Nik Miles, along with Truck Girl Jen, and we don't have a title for Megan. What do we call you?
Travel Megan.
Travel Mum Megan?
Yeah, sure.
Mummy Travels Megan?
Travels, yeah.
Megan from mummytravels.net. You can, of course, follow us on social media at ourautoexpert.com. Where all of our articles, TV segments, radio shows, and social media is placed. Megan, your 18-year-old son is ready to buy his first car with much assistance from his mother.
Yes.
I went shopping with him. Does he listen to the show, by the way?
Sometimes.
Okay, so we shouldn't say negative stuff then.
Sometimes I play it back to them when it goes on into the podcast to see if they think it's funny.
Okay. Are they your funny measurer?
Yes, and they judge me hard. So.
Okay, well, I judge you hard too. Your son and I went shopping with his girlfriend.
Yep.
And we went shopping for a new car.
Well, not you. New to him.
New to him.
Used.
A new car to him. It was interesting trying to suck his opinion out of him. Because Noah is definitely a B personality. Very quiet. Doesn't talk. I mean, you say he talks a lot, but you're the only one that experiences that.
That's true.
With car shopping, it was like, what do you think now? What do you think now? What do you think now? Yeah. Come on now. What do you think? Yeah.
Well, really the only one he came home talking about that y'all test drove was a Tiguan. I can't remember. Was it a 2013?
Yes. He didn't like the BMW X5. He didn't like the steering and that sort of thing. But that's what I was trying to get out of him. Like, what didn't he like about it? So I could gauge you would like this car or you would like this car. Or that type of thing. The Tiguan, I think, was a good buy. I also sent you a Jeep Renegade, by the way, that I found online.
Oh, I think I missed that. I didn't see
a Jeep
Renegade.
It looks like a really good buy.
I love the Renegade.
He really likes the look of Jeeps in general.
It's very square. You should pull it up on the computer. You probably can't see. You have a computer? Pull it up on a computer. Jeep Renegade. I think Noah would like it a lot. And it was within your price range. I think it was like I think your price range is $15,000. I think it was like 16, which and it also comes from a dealership that I know, so I could, I could do a little schwangling.
You could use your charm.
I could use my wit, my charm. There you go.
The problem is that is 2 hours away.
No.
That's 2 hours to pick that up.
Right, but the company would probably ship it down here.
I know,
just saying.
But could you have a company ship something and then you test drive it and you're like, no, never mind.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they'd have another one in the fleet.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So I think the Renegade is a good choice for him because it's a little vehicle. It's great on gas mileage. It's very capable. We took it Mudfest. Mm-hmm. The Renegade did the extreme course, which only the extreme 4x4s are able to do. The Renegade kicked backside on that course.
I love that car.
Did really well. The other car I've been thinking about is the Fiat 500X. Which is their sort of off-road. It's the same as the Renegade. They're the same. They're a lot of the same stuff as the Renegade. Anyway, I know we get into this. We shouldn't talk about cars. We should talk about the experience of buying the cars. And
it's a hard experience.
It is. The thing with Noah is he told me he doesn't like the roundy SUVs.
Right, and they're all round.
And I was like, what is that? He goes, well, the more modern SUVs. He likes more. Every time he sends me a car that is not stimulated by you, it's always like an Audi TT or a Mustang. I'm like, he's such an 18-year-old boy.
He was like, he's still trying to negotiate the Mustang. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and he found a screaming deal on a Mustang, and he's like, well, I'll pay for my insurance. No, it's a no, son. Like, I'm not buying a Mustang.
Yeah, he seems to think that you're actually going to give in to that one. What does he use to manipulate you into making decisions that he wants?
Nothing, because I just don't.
Like a girl would batter her eyelids.
Yeah, he's not going to bat his eyes at me. But
You know, like
he might try and reason with me, or he's like, "Well, what if I pay for more of it?" Or
he doesn't seem like a good debater.
No, probably not. No.
God, my son is.
Is he?
Oh,
Did Stephen did your decision get pushed by Steve? Like he made you change your mind about things when he bought his first car?
no.
Oh, I see why you sound like Megan. No.
Well, no, he wanted a Camaro. He told me what he wanted, and
he
I
got one.
got him a watered-down version.
Of the Camaro.
Yes, it was a Camaro, but
There's a 4-cylinder Mustang. Maybe you could get that. Maybe a 4-cylinder Mustang
Yeah.
would work for him.
Well, that's what we were looking at. It's the EcoBoost, and it's a
They're good.
4-cylinder. So, but I'm like, what's the point of getting a Mustang if it's not got a V6?
He's an 18-year-old boy. You
It's-
don't be saying things like that to him. A V8 Mustang.
right, exactly.
Yeah, but if I'm going to drive it too,
Oh
I
well,
don't want to drive around a 4-cylinder
Wait
Mustang.
a second. You're going to drive it too?
No, almost never, but
Right.
still.
You know, my dad has a minivan which has 3 rows in it for the very same reason that once every 2 years my sister comes for a week. That's why he still
That's
has.
cute.
That's why the minivan's still parked in his driveway.
That's the thing. My dad drives this great big Yukon, and it's just him and my stepmom. I'm like, why did you buy this great big Yukon? He's like, well, if y'all come to visit. I was like, man, we haven't been out here in 2 years. But
It's actually cheaper to rent a car than it is to actually have one in your driveway. You could rent one for 3 weeks. Exactly. Mind you always want to rent around the holiday. That's sometimes where it's $100 a day rental.
yeah.
I rented a car in Hawaii for 3 days. It was $350.
Oh, well, that's completely different because in Hawaii, if they run out of cars,
you get the Mustang.
You get the-
I always get the Mustang.
I got the Mustang. I wanted a Jeep Wrangler.
I got a Jeep Wrangler the last time I was in Hawaii.
Yeah,
and
I
was
should have
like-
got a Jeep Wrangler.
I was so excited. I was going to off-road in Kauai, and then I had to sign all the stuff swearing I wouldn't off-road the car. I was like, gosh, dang it, that's the only reason I rented the Jeep Wrangler.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. All right, so how close are we to getting Noah a car?
No closer than we were 2 weeks ago.
I feel I failed you.
No, you haven't failed me. It's a hard decision. I mean, because like when he's looking at an Audi, I've never been in an Audi, so I'm like, no, we can't buy one of those. I don't know anything about it.
Audis are amazing vehicles when they're brand new, but I would hate to think of someone buying an older Audi that
Yeah.
had to do the repairs on them. When he has a
Right.
$3,000 repair bill,
It's
which would have cost him
expensive.
$300 in something else, he's going to be crying back to you. That's half the price, of how much you put in for the car.
Mercedes
know.
is kind of the same way. They're really expensive to repair.
yeah.
Older ones, when
I
they
remember
get
used to
super
even
old.
let him
ones.
look at a Mercedes.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep going back to, if you're going to buy a car that he's looking at in that price range, we are looking at something along the lines of a Japanese car, a Nissan, a Toyota, a Honda,
Well,
those type of things.
and what's super tough is, we look online, but then we go to test drive it, and the car's like completely trashed out.
Yeah.
But it looked great in the pictures.
Welcome to Car Shopping. That's why you listen to Our Auto Expert. Coming up, we'll continue this conversation plus more good stuff in the show. Stand by. Our Auto Expert continues.
You're listening to Our Auto Expert.
Jump right in and put the pedal to the floor. Our Auto Expert with Nik Miles continues.
Welcome back to the show. Catch up with previous episodes of Our Auto Expert at the website, ourautoexpert.com. You can hear all the past shows, see our automotive videos, and read inside car stories about your next ride. You'll find them at ourautoexpert.com. Megan and Jen in the studio with us here. Megan, recently there was a whole bunch of women got together to talk cars.
Yeah, so we have an event every other year called Hills and Wheels, and it's for female automotive journalists, bloggers, female PR people in the car industry. They had some female engineers there, like the woman that designed the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid is a female engineer, so she kind of talked us through the car. And so it's just a really neat event because, like we've said before, there are not a lot of women in the automotive industry, so it's really neat to get together and network and see each other because our paths don't cross that often. So
Why aren't there that many women?
I don't know. I think that is going to be a slowly changing changing
landscape.
things. Well, I mean, you think in engineering, there's a lack of women too. So, I mean, there's just certain
The chief engineer, you
still,
just told me the chief engineer of Pacifica is a woman.
Right.
I know the chief engineer of the Equinox is a woman. We've had a bunch of chief engineers on here. It seems like women have no trouble raising to the top. It's just that the volume of women seems to be less.
Yeah, but I think it's going to grow every year. So, I mean, that event 2 years ago was so much smaller than it was this year. I couldn't believe how many women it was double easily. So it was really neat to see. But yeah, so we have the opportunity over the course of 2 days to drive a whole bunch of different cars. You get about 30 minutes in each car. So some of them were, sports cars. They had a Chevy Corvette. That was fun. And then there's an Aston Martin.
This is ZL1.
It was,
ZL1,
yeah.
ZL1.
Yeah, it was the ZR1.
You had a good time riding that?
I had a wonderful time riding in that. I love driving that car. So they had an Aston Martin DBS Superleggera.
Superleggera, yeah.
Leggera, okay.
Yeah, that's the supercar. That's the awesome. I drove that in Germany. In fact, interestingly enough, the place they took us in Germany to drive that. I was looking up at the cliff top behind me, and I was going, I recognize that building. Where I'm in the middle of Germany. How can I reckon? It was Hitler's eagle's nest.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Nice choice of location. Yeah. But the car was amazing.
Moving on.
And the car was amazing to drive. It was just in a strange location.
The one I drove had this gorgeous red leather interior, and that is hand stitched by one person. And that person, it takes 50 hours, up to 50 hours to stitch that.
What I think is incredible there is that the people that build that car can look at a car 5 years later and tell you which person stitched the seats. They can recognize the stitching.
Oh yeah, and they can tell if it's left-handed or right-handed. It's just crazy. So, but there were other cars there. I mean, we had a Nissan Altima there. There was a GMC Sierra Denali. So I saw the new 6-way tailgate.
That's cool.
With the step?
Yeah, with the step.
Yeah.
I like it. I know not everybody likes it, but I thought it was really cool. The one I drove actually had a speaker in the tailgate. Mm-hmm. So if you were, tailgating at a football game or whatever, you could have the stereo going. So the Jetta GLI was there. Yeah. The Autobahn.
That car is going to be at the Run to the Sun event. Yep.
Oh, fun. That's a super fun little car.
Yeah, it's basically a Jetta on steroids.
Yes.
So it's super fast, super great handling. It sort of has more of the Audi DNA. I mean, VW hate me to say this, but it has some sort of Audi A4 DNA in it too, which is kind of cool.
They had one of my favorite cars there. They had the Dodge Durango SRT.
Yeah, well, who doesn't love that? Was it just the 500 horsepower, or was it 707 horsepower?
You know what? I actually didn't get a chance to drive it, so I'm not sure.
That was an opportunity missed, let me tell you, because Jen had been under the hood of that one. Mm-hmm. They're amazing vehicle, especially the rear-wheel drive and the amount of power. What was your favorite drive out of the vehicles?
Oh, by far it was the Corvette.
Was it? Mm-hmm. I never saw you as a Corvette girl.
It's funny.
The Jen thing.
It's not my first time driving a Corvette, but this time I just loved it. I mean, it just handles so well. It sounds so mean and gritty, and I mean, it's such a powerful vehicle. I mean, it's just an amazing drive experience, I think.
What was the event like? What did you do?
We kicked off in the morning. The different gals from the manufacturers would get up and talk, and so we got kind of a briefing.
Presentation.
Yeah, we had different presentations, and then we were released to drive. So I had the same drive partner for 2 days, and we just tried to drive as many cars as we could. So we spent anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour in one of the cars. So
who's your drive partner?
Liza Morales, XOXO Liza.
Yeah, I know her well.
Yeah, she's super fun. So she's a Latina blogger, and she's got this huge personality, and we just had a really good time. She's
kind of like a Betty Boop in a sense too, with the big red lips, and she
wears her heart sunglasses, and she's super fun. So super savvy. She does a lot of car events. We met for the first time at a car event many years ago.
Right.
At a Ford event.
Right. Do you think there's more lifestyle women in automotive than there is women who? Because I see very few hardcore engineering women. A lot of the sort of women in cars are more lifestyle. There's very few women who will sort of get under the hood and talk about horsepower and that sort of thing. There's even less of those women.
I would agree with that.
Apart from you, Jen, getting dirty stares from across the room.
No, it's true. It's very true.
Now, a lot of women, are happy to talk about lifestyles and car usage. 80% of car transactions in the United States of America only take place under the given sanction of a woman. So husbands will say, yes, they want this car, but it has to be approved by their partner.
Well, and a lot of, I know you and I look at cars very different, so that's what's been interesting about you helping Noah car hunting, because I'm looking at it completely different than you are, and I look at something, I'm like, that looks pretty good, and you're like, that's going to cost way too much to fix. I'm like, oh, okay.
Like the mean budget dad.
I thought it had like killer lumbar support, so I was like, yeah, this one,
I told several of the dealers when we went car shopping, when Noah calls at 2:00 in the morning from a gas station 20 miles from his apartment at school and says, my car's broken down, it's going to be their responsibility to get him home.
Well, that would be ideal, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen.
Well, but I need them to understand if they sell him a car, it can't break down.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he would do great with it. A great vehicle to own, first of all, is a Tiguan.
You know what? He really liked it. I like Volkswagen. So another brand I like is Kia. I just was in a Kia Forte EX.
Uh-huh.
I spent about a week in it driving around Texas. It was the 2019 model, and I felt like it was really different from the year before. It's got way more technology on it.
It's comfortable, too.
It is super comfortable. In fact, my mom was with us part of the time, so some of the time I had all three kids in the back row, and they were totally fine. I mean, they weren't thrilled because they were touching each other, but it wasn't miserable. Let's put it that way. And it had air in the back, which is pretty crucial for any time you're going to put kids in the back. But one of the safety features that really startled me was I was coming off the highway, and I guess the car sensed that the car in front of me was going to stop. That car came to such an abrupt stop. I mean, a complete stop so fast, I could not believe it. I've never had that happen.
Scare the hebas out of you?
It didn't really scare me, but it was shocking. So, I mean, it's cool that it's got that technology on it. I mean, it's going to save a life, but it was quick.
You can actually buy a brand new Nissan Versa for less than $15,000.
I don't even know what a Nissan Versa is.
Oh, wow. They're cute. It's a smaller vehicle. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a Forte.
It's not a sexy Mustang, and Noah's probably... I mean, he has a girlfriend. Why would he need to want girls to like him? But it has lane departure warning. It has automatic emergency braking as standard with pedestrian detection.
Mm-hmm. Has Nissan put the ProPilot technology on that?
You can get all of that stuff, similar stuff to that, but then you're up to $18,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once you start stacking the vehicle up, you're talking about an $19,000 car with all the extras.
Well, the Kia Forte I was driving tapped out at like $26,000. It's fully loaded.
Right.
I mean, so some of these cars are pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy something that's a couple of years old, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And get all those safety features. Such a mom thing. Repair stuff, such a dad thing.
Well, I spent months and months looking for a Nissan Rogue, a used Nissan Rogue with the ProPilot technology on it, but people are keeping them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to give them up.
Nope.
Yeah.
You have to pry them out of their hands. All right. Are you going to be able to get Noah a new car? I'm getting exhausted, by the way. No, just a new car, period, for him. Not a brand new one. Getting him a new car to him. Is it going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen eventually.
Well, Mini has a thing going on right now as far as kids in school.
The Mini Oxford, yeah. All right, coming up, more Our Auto Expert on the show. We're going to do a deep delve into Perry Stern, and we're going to talk about the Porsche and lots more stuff coming up.
You're listening to the Our Auto Expert podcast.
Our Auto Expert continues. Here's your host, Nik Miles.
Welcome back to Our Auto Expert. I'm here with Jen, and we are going to talk about an event which is coming up, which Jen and I have been putting together over the last few months, called Run to the Sun. And this is a summer driving event. It's a rally where 24 journalists will get together with 24 different cars and drive over the course of 3 days, two and a half days, so half a day, full day, half a day. And it's a rally style event where we get to drive all these new cars and SUVs, performance and convertibles. And every 20 miles, every 30 miles, we stop and change cars. And Jen's been putting this together. So where is it taking place this year, Jen? Tell us all about it from your side.
Oh, Well, I'm in charge of the food. Actually, it's...
And the books and other stuff. You're a co-chair on the event.
Come on co-chairing. It's actually at Skamania Lodge this year, which is a little different than where we normally have it. So very excited for a new location.
So Skamania Lodge is in Stevenson, Washington. If you're not familiar with that, if you're listening in Chicago or Seattle or Portland, it's in Stevenson, Washington,
and
Washington
it's
State.
Beautiful.
Up in the mountains or the edge of the mountains. It's a big resort-style hotel, and we will drive out from that resort-style hotel for those 2 days. Mm-hmm. Everyone will fly into Portland, Oregon, and then they will get their first car, and we will drive it up to Skamania Lodge. Let's talk a little bit about what you're looking forward to. You've seen the list of cars, right? You saw.
I've got the list open right here.
Pow.
So I know that. Are you putting together the driving list? Because I know which one I want to drive first. Can you guess which one?
Is it the ZL one?
Yes.
But that's not. It's not going to be necessarily the best route to drive it on from the airport out to Skamania Lodge.
That's the longest route, isn't it? No, it's pretty close. How about you? Which one do you want to drive
I'm
first?
actually excited in driving the Rolls Royce and the Slingshot.
I know, the Slingshot. That is going to be fantastic.
And the Supra, because I want to buy a Supra. And the RCF Track Edition.
Yeah, there's
Lexus
a lot
RCF
of good
Track.
ones to pick from.
So let's read the cars off.
Read the cars off?
Yeah.
Ford Expedition.
No,
no, the Explorer ST.
Explorer ST. So this is the performance version of the Explorer. And the ST, of course, is the Ford sort of racing division. I have driven the Ford Explorer ST, and it is worthy of a performance badge.
Really?
It is hot, it is fast, it is fun, and it'll allow you to break the law.
Oh, we got the Dodge Challenger. God, I can't even talk today. Challenger wide body. That's going to be exciting.
Wide body of it's all those extra width on the vehicle and the extra power. So Challenger is always fun to drive any day of the week. And I think hopefully they'll bring an automatic one. So
No.
I was waiting for that.
No. Don't mess that up. And the Toyota Supra.
The Supra's good.
Mm-hmm. What else do we have here? Ooh, the Jeep Wrangler. I love the Wranglers.
Yeah, the Wrangler's in the soft top, as well as we have a Fiat 124 Abarth.
Well, look at that.
And a Mazda RF.
An AMG G63.
Yeah, that's the G-Wagon. Mm-hmm. We don't have the... it's not what I'm driving this week, the G63. I'm driving the regular. This also has the
Stinger.
The Stinger GTS.
Yes, I'm excited about that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
The G70 as well from Genesis, plus the Mercedes-Benz GT 4-door, which is like the Porsche Panamera. That is phenomenal.
And the Stelvio.
Car.
Got the Stelvio again this year.
from Alfa Romeo. That's going to be fun to drive. What else do you like?
R-Type. Or Type R, sorry. I always say R-Type.
Honda Type R, front-wheel drive.
Yep. Okay, what else do we have?
Performance car, $35,000.
The 50th anniversary edition of the
Z.
Yes.
The 370Z.
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah. Nice coloring too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what else do we have here? We say the Countryman.
Mini Countryman, John Cooper Works version.
Veloster.
The Hyundai Veloster N. Mm-hmm. That's fun. The N is again like the Type R performance coupe.
Yeah. We got a couple from we got one from Subaru.
That is the new Legacy XT, which is their kind of performance version of it. Brand new Legacy with that 11.6-inch screen on the inside, too.
Yeah.
Looking forward to driving that, because I haven't yet.
And a couple from Volkswagen.
The Arteon and the GLI.
Which I can't wait to drive.
Yeah, the Arteon actually is one of my favorite cars. It was one of my best buys this year.
Really?
Too. Yeah.
Oh, I can't keep track of you and your cars. And the Miata.
This is the RF version of the Miata MX-5, as it's actually called now, the Mazda MX-5. It has the retractable hardtop, which is kind of cool.
RDX?
Acura Rdx. This is their A-Spec version, their performance version of the Rdx, their brand new smaller SUV. A lot of fun to drive.
Yeah, we got a lot of good cars here. I think we got them all, didn't we?
Yeah, probably. There's a Rolls Royce coming. There's a Slingshot coming. There's quite a few. This year, there will be 5 categories as well. Sedan, performance car, performance SUV, convertible, and overall winner. So,
looks really tough this year.
I don't know. I think that slingshot's in for a run. Coming up, more Our Auto Expert. We'll talk to Perry Stern about the brand new Porsche Hybrid, the Cayenne, and this, my friends, is an SUV with some sporty, very dynamic driving processes on it. So if you want to find out about that, how it could be in your garage, that's all coming up on Our Auto Expert.
You're listening to Our Auto Expert.
It's Our Auto Expert with Nik Miles.
Welcome back to Our Auto Expert. Catch up with previous episodes of the show at the website. It's ourautoexpert.com. You can hear all past shows, see our automotive videos, and read insider car stories about your next ride. You'll find them all at ourautoexpert.com on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and start a conversation with us right there. I'm happy to answer all your car questions. Another person that's happy to answer all our car questions is Perry Stern. Perry also writes for Our Auto Expert, and you can see his work on MSN Autos. Perry, you got the chance to drive a Porsche Hybrid Cayenne. Is this still a real Porsche, even if it's a hybrid?
It is. When people hear hybrid, I think a lot of people think Prius. This is about as un-Prius as a hybrid can be. Porsche is real. I mean, it's a Porsche hybrid, so it's all about performance, but you still get the efficiency of a hybrid too. So they have a couple different versions that have come out. There is the, I guess you could call it base model if you want, the Cayenne e-hybrid, which is a plug-in hybrid. You get about 21 miles of electric driving only. And then you've got a six-cylinder engine combined with a pretty powerful electric motor for amazing performance. I mean, you're talking over 500 horsepower out of this car.
Who buys these vehicles? Is it the affluent? Is it the earth healthy? Who's the biggest audience for these Porsche hybrids?
I think it's probably more affluent. I mean, even the more basic model, which is like I said, the e-hybrid, which is actually about 450 horsepower, it starts at $80,000.
Well, I mean,
this is not an inexpensive car.
That's a bit of a sticker shock if you think what else costs $80,000 these days. You can get yourself into some high-end Mercedes for that sort of same price.
This is true, but I mean, the Cayenne brings a lot to the table. So you've got, all told, 455 horsepower and a ton of torque because it's an electric motor that's providing a lot of the power. But it has different modes. So, for example, if you're at full charge, you can go 21 miles as an EV, as an electric car. You can cruise through town perfectly silent, not burning any fossil fuels. You put it in Sport Plus mode, which is the opposite end of the scale. You get all of the power of the gas engine, all of the power of the electric motor, and while it's giving you all this power, it's charging the batteries for the next time you want to drive as an EV. And so it's kind of the best of both worlds.
One of the things that I always get niggled about in some of these hybrid electric cars is the fact that 0 to 60 miles an hour seems so sluggish. How does it do in that department?
I would say it is appropriate for a Porsche. So the e-hybrid, I believe, goes 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. I mean, it is quite quick. But if that's not quite quick enough for you, they have a brand new model. Actually, they have a brand new model that's coming out, the Turbo S e-hybrid. So what they've done is they've taken that same hybrid powertrain and they teamed it with a turbocharged V8 engine. And so now, instead of getting 455 horsepower, you're getting 670.
All right, I mean that's a huge amount, especially in a hybrid. It almost seems ridiculous, that amount of horsepower to get it out of it. When you were on the event, did you get to sort of do the usual? Did you get to take it on a track? How was the event?
Didn't get to take it on the track. We actually were down your neck of the woods. We were down a little further south in Eugene, Oregon. But we did get to take them on some pretty twisty roads. And while the standard $80,000 e-hybrid is impressive, it's the Turbo S that just blows you away. I mean, it's so quick. It's 0 to 60 is 3.5 seconds. It will go, if you have enough space, 180 miles an hour plus.
Woo.
And it handles like a Porsche. It's, even though it looks like an SUV, I mean, it's got all the space of an SUV. You can get the coupe version, if you like, which is a bit more slope-proof. People think of a coupe as a two-door. Apparently, that definition has now been thrown out the window by everybody. So now they call the sleeker-looking Cayenne a Cayenne coupe.
Now,
Don't ask me why.
Now, Porsche also is going a little more than hybrid. They're getting into the full electric vehicle. They have the Taycan coming, which they're announcing in the beginning of September. Is there going to be a full electric version of this vehicle?
They have not made that announcement, and I don't know if that is in the cards, at least in this generation. I mean, their very first, like you said, the very first electric car is just coming out now, and I would say that it will work its way through. Interesting thing, though, is when we drove the 911, the brand new 911 earlier this year, when you look at the way the transmission and engine is set up, it's clearly set up to be able to have an electric motor in there, too.
All right, so they redesign it to be able to do that. This is not their first version of a hybrid vehicle. The Panamera's had hybrid for quite a while. Is it the first time that the Cayenne e-hybrid has they've had a Cayenne version of the hybrid?
It is the first one of this generation. They have had a hybrid before, but they've never had a plug-in hybrid.
All right, and so what's the sort of mileage you can do on the electricity alone, and how far will it go? How long does it take to recharge?
So it goes about 21 miles on electric only. They're saying it's at a 220 charge will take about 2.5 to 3 hours to get to a full charge. On a 110, probably take about twice that long. They haven't announced fuel economy yet, but in the standard e-hybrid, just in pretty aggressive driving, we were getting close to 30 miles per gallon.
Is there any way to differentiate these vehicles when you look between a regular and the hybrid, or is it just you're looking for a plug-in door? There's a couple telltale signs. You've got green brake calipers. All right, that's always a giveaway with Porsche because they're bright green too. They're not just a very subtle green, right?
Yes, acid green they call it. So that stands out. All of the labels are also in green. So if you see a Cayenne driving down the road and the label is in green in the back, that's also the telltale. But it does have a couple little hybrid logos on it too. But at first glance, it really doesn't look much different than any other Cayenne on the road.
Did you notice the ride any different?
The ride isn't much different. Than a standard Cayenne. It's the one main advantage is you get a full electric mode, which is kind of cool. To drive a car it's not a small car. It easily seats 5 with a lot of cargo space. It's a decent sized SUV, and even in electric mode, it's got pretty reasonable performance. It'll go up to 83 miles an hour on electric only.
Do you think Porsche are going to sell a lot of these?
I think they'll sell a good number of them. The hybrid makes more sense, I think, than the gas engine, just because you get all that performance that you would otherwise. Plus, you have the fuel efficiency. But you're talking an 80,000 plus vehicle. The turbo starts at $160,000. So I think the price alone is just going to make it so this is not going to sell at the level of a Prius. Let's put it that way.
No, it's a completely different audience for this as well. You're looking at an audience that probably much prefers a luxury and performance, definitely on the inside and outside of the vehicle. One of the things I always worry about these. First of all, it's probably going to be made in Germany. Is that right?
I believe so, yes. I don't know that they've made that official announcement, but yes, I would expect so.
And there's usually a limited number that's available, right?
They haven't made any limitation on it at this point. So, I would imagine they will build as many as people want. They will probably have some special editions that will be limited, but I believe that as many people as want a $160,000 turbocharged hybrid Cayenne can have one.
What's the thrill of driving a Porsche? Because really, the sports cars, the 911s, is where they're most famous for, but what's the thrill of actually owning a Porsche?
It's like not like anything else, really. The 911, of course, is kind of the benchmark. And I remember the first time I drove a 911, and before I got in, I thought, it's all just a lot of hype. And then you get in, and the steering is just so perfect and so precise, and the car is so perfectly balanced. The Cayenne isn't quite to that level because you're talking about a 5,000 plus pound vehicle. So, there's only so much they can do to defy the laws of physics. But given that it is a large vehicle, the acceleration is dramatic, handling is quite good, eventually, if you push it hard enough, physics is going to win, and the mass is just going to keep you pushing. But it's got big, wide, sticky tires. It's full-time all-wheel drive. It has torque vectoring, which means it can send power to different wheels depending on what it needs for the best control. So Porsche does everything they can to make this drive as well as any other high-performance SUV, certainly.
One of the exciting things I think that Porsche have managed to do is the technology of their performance. It's not just about raw power hitting the road, but it's also about refined power hitting the road. Porsche are able to do things like know when a surface of a road is wet and have the car adjust its driving to that. They show that off in the new 911. Also, a lot of technology to make sure that the driver does less work to get better performance out of the vehicle, presuming that this new the Cayenne is packed with that same sort of technology.
It is. In fact, it has some pretty amazing technology with regard to, I guess you call it the Nav System. They call it InnoDrive, I assume for innovation. And it's basically an adaptive cruise control that, basically adaptive cruise control keeps track of the car in front of you, will also typically keep you in the lane depending on the level of it. The one in the Cayenne actually uses onboard navigation data and cloud-based information to basically calculate what the route is going to be for the next about 2 miles, and will optimize acceleration, optimize the suspension, and basically make the vehicle set up perfectly for whatever the route is coming up is.
I noticed
so it's actually reading the road ahead of time.
Right, I noticed on the inside of the car, looking at just the design, there is off of the side of the steering, it's a 3-spoke steering wheel with buttons on the right, like phone, hang up and dial, back button, and then on the left-hand side looks like your cruise control buttons. But there's also this sort of little round button at the bottom off of the steering wheel that looks like some kind of cruise control. What's that for?
Actually, that's the best button ever. I believe you're referring to the Sport Chrono button, and this is where you can dial in the different settings.
All right.
So you can put it in E mode, which basically keeps, as long as there's battery charge, it will not start up the gasoline engine unless you go full throttle. When you go full throttle, all bets are off. It gives you all the power you want. But you can also put it in hybrid mode, which will be a nice balance. It will put it in electric mode whenever it can. Sport mode gives you all the power of the electric motor as well as the power of the gas engine. And then Sport Plus turns everything on to maximum, where it will run the engine to give you the best performance at the same time charging the battery, so that while you're driving along having a great time, you're actually charging up the battery for the next time you want to drive in pure EV mode.
I think
the best part is the button in the middle, though. The button in the middle gives... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you should sell that to Porsche, by the way, and say it's the best button ever. It should be the best button ever button.
It is the best button ever button, because the best button ever button is the button in the middle, which is the equivalent of Turbo Boost. When you push that button for, I believe it's about 10, 15 seconds, it gives you as much power as the car can provide. Full maximum torque, maximum electric motor, and I actually used that button in a 911 once, the first time I was driving it, and it scared me to death because suddenly we shot off like a rocket.
You bring smiles to my face, Perry. It's the I need to get away from the cops now button.
Exactly. Although we all know that does not work.
I just have this image of you getting out the house, getting to the house and getting out the car, and your wife being at the front door, and you getting out the car all sweaty, and she's like, "What's wrong, honey?" He goes, "I pushed the best button ever button. Oh, it really scared me."
Perhaps it's the best ever scary button. I don't know.
Perry, thanks for joining us to talk about the brand new Porsche Hybrid Cayenne, which is coming to the market soon. And you can read all Perry's stuff at MSN Autos, or of course at Our Auto Expert. When we return, we're going to be talking about, some more auctions and some really cool Elvis cars that are going on sale, or one in particular that's going to be up for sale if you happen to have the money. That's coming up next.
You're listening to the Our Auto Expert podcast.
Welcome to the Fast Lane. Nik Miles is our auto expert. So drop it into gear. You've got a green flag. Here's Nik.
Welcome to this week's show, locally created, nationally celebrated from our Northwest studios, from the Northwest to the Southeast. This is America's Car Radio Show. If it has a throttle, we'll feature it on air, online, on mobile, or on smart speaker. This is our auto expert. I'm your host, Nik Miles, along with truck girl Jen. And Megan is here from mummytravels.net as well for the whole show this week. It's been a whirlwind 2 weeks. I have been traveling everywhere. It started off with the Lincoln Aviator trip. Then it went to Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, which is where the rich and famous go. I managed to sit in Kris Jenner's car. She bought a new Rolls-Royce Cullinan. And then I also went to Ojai, California for the Subaru, and Banff, Canada for test drive of Volvo. So I'm pretty dizzy this morning. Have you guys got any Dramamine?
Do you know what time zone it is?
I actually do have some Dramamine.
You do? Is that because you have to sit next to your son while he test drives cars?
Yeah, somewhat.
You should drive with Jen. She's pretty sensible.
Thanks.
You don't go crazy. You have these big, powerful trucks, big, powerful cars, and yet you drive like a mature lady.
I've driven with Jen.
Unless you make me mad.
Oh, well, there's a red flag.
Megan has driven with me.
Oh, yeah. When? When was this?
We went to a Toyota event where we drove a Toyota Prius all-wheel drive, actually.
Prius, all right, there you go.
And then we also drove the RAV4. Which RAV4 was it?
The Adventure, I'm going to guess, because you were on
The
ice.
Adventure was there.
It was.
Were you on ice?
We did the Adventure in the Limited.
You drove on ice, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And our instructor hated me. He loved her, hated me.
No,
Is that true?
The first instructor. The second instructor liked you and hated me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, as long as the hate is even,
Yeah,
I guess we're all good.
worked out pretty good.
They did spread it around quite well.
Spreading the hate, Megan and Jen.
I'd like to emphasize that this was not someone from Toyota that was doing this.
Oh, yeah.
It was someone else.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's good. Hang on a second. I'm going to lean up and turn your mic over because you're quiet. So, car stuff. I really enjoyed the Lincoln Aviator. It has some amazing new features, including phone as a key. No longer do you need a key. You just have your phone in your pocket. You walk up to the car. It greets you. It kneels, so it lowers itself so you can get in. It turns the lights on, the mirrors come out, it welcomes you into its warm, embracing arms. But the coolest feature in this vehicle is the fact that it has a button, and I stress the fact that it has a button on the door on the driver and passenger side, so you can just press it to turn on the seat massagers. And why is this amazing? It's amazing because usually you have to get knee-deep through menus to find the seat massaging. The second you hit that button on the door, the menu pops up on the center screen, which is, again, incredible because no longer do I have to have numb bum syndrome while I'm driving. Hit the button and you get that pulsating, massaging, finger-type feeling.
You don't have real problems, Nik.
I don't?
No.
Numb bum syndrome is not a real problem?
That's not a real problem.
If you've ever had to drive like 15 hours in a car.
I had to drive 15 hours in a car with you.
Would you have liked to... That's Mini Takes Estates you're talking about.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Would you have liked
Yes.
a back and bum massage?
Yes, and you refused to give me. No.
It would have been fairly inappropriate.
I know. Plus, the car's just too small for that.
So a larger car, it would have been fine, I guess. It's just, that's one of the great features. It has so many really cool features. It has this air glide, so it uses the cameras up front to look at the road and see a bump coming up and set the suspension so you don't feel it. I mean, that, again, is amazing.
That is amazing.
Why should your backside be bumped around when the car can then mitigate against numb bum syndrome, against bumps in the road? Again,
I can't think of a reason why not.
No, me neither. That's the first one. We can continue going. Banff. I went to Banff to drive the new Volvos. Ooh. There was 4 of them. The new Polestar V60 and XC60, unbelievable. The XC60 is their wagon. I am back in love with wagons. Well, I was never out of love, to be honest.
That's
You
one of my
love
favorite
wagons.
cars.
The V60. Mm-hmm. It is amazing. I drove it down a mountain, and that was amazing. We drove it down a ski hill, Golden in Canada. I know there's a Golden Colorado. There's a Golden Oregon.
I
Washington
off-roaded
is-
one of them a couple of years ago.
Driving down the
handles
ski
really
hill was
well.
great, but I will tell you, my hate for cyclists kind of went up a little bit.
I didn't realize that you hated cyclists.
Well, I don't hate, because I like to bicycle occasionally.
I
like
have
to
never
motor
seen you on a
bicycle.
bike.
That's motor bicycle.
What happened was I was driving down the hill, and these guys, they take the cable car up, they take the gondola up to the top of the hill, and then they come down with their mountain bikes, which is great. They come really fast. They're usually young, very fit individuals. Their cars are kind of somewhat their enemy. So as I'm bombing down the hill, by the way, the speed limit was 12 miles an hour, and I may have been over triple that. As I was bombing down the hill, the cyclists are coming down on there, or the off-road biking, mountain bikers are coming down on their track. They may have been a little upset with me for the speed and the dust I was creating.
Oops.
Yeah, oops.
You don't know them. It's not
No.
your problem.
Well, they were shouting at me and throwing rocks, but beside that, it was we were okay. We had a good time. And then Pebble Beach, amazing. Got to drive the Lamborghini Huracan Evo Spider. Got sunburnt. You can probably look at my face right now and see I'm peeling. I'm still not quite over that sunburnt. Got sunburnt with the top down. Saw the brand new Bugatti.
The one that sold out at $8.8 million.
$8.8 million. They only made 10 of them.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's
An
beautiful.
$8.8 million car?
I don't know, like,
It's gorgeous.
people with money sometimes.
Did you
just-
see the Pagani?
Yes, I did from a distance. I saw the new Acura S, the Type S.
Yes.
Holy hell.
Really?
That thing is amazing. That's a car that I could actually afford probably when it comes to market.
Okay, you have to tell everybody about the car this morning that we drove in on.
Oh, the BMW 850.
Yes.
M850.
I wondered if that was your car down there.
Yeah, so I've been driving the M850 iX Drive, this convertible BMW. $100,000. Just saying. That's
Yeah.
the starting price. I'm sure that one's like 120. I haven't actually looked at the price. We're going to talk about. Well, we'll talk about that a bit later on. Coming up on the show, we've got an absolutely packed show for you, including. Let me look at the list. We're going to be talking to Kerry Kim from Order by Tel. We're going to have James Hunter on to talk about the XT5. We're going to be talking about IndyCar races and a bunch more. That's all coming up on the show.
You're listening to Our Auto Expert.
Jump right in and put the pedal to the floor. Our Auto Expert with Nik Miles continues.
We're going to try a few experiments in this segment, swapping our headphone feed over. So if things go wrong, it's all Jen's fault.
That is correct.
Catch up with previous episodes of the show at our website, ourautoexpert.com. You can hear all the past shows and see our automotive videos and read inside stories about your next ride. You'll find us at ourautoexpert.com. All right, let's. You want me to switch it over now?
Yes.
That sounds better,
See,
doesn't
isn't
it?
that better?
But here's the problem. If I switch that button over and we sound better and we don't sound all echoey, I mean, the listener doesn't know we sound echoey. It sounds great to them, right, guys? Yep, look all those hands go up around the country.
All I could say is I was right.
You were right?
I was right.
Oh, Jen's always right.
I know, never.
She is one of my favorite people in the world, I have to tell you. I get to spend time with her, driving around when we have events. We always try and ride together, and we sing Queen in the car together. Kerry Kim is from Order by Tel. She joins us on the phone to talk about the 2020 Nissan Versa. Kerry, have you missed me?
I have.
Oh.
I really have, Nick.
I miss you so much, and then I tease you on Facebook, and then you tell me off publicly.
I love her hair.
She's
got cute hair.
There is nothing that isn't wonderful about Kerry.
I know.
She is one of the most wonderful individuals in the world. Just to let you know, Kerry's husband, Ed, works for another big automotive publication. And Kerry was looking at a dog, and she said, Ed's not kind of into it. And so I publicly shamed him on Facebook. Did you get the dog? Kerry, did you get the dog?
We're going to go look at him today.
Okay.
Wow.
Ed Kim, I'm going to give out your phone number if you don't let Kerry have the dog. Anyway, let's talk about other things before we get ourselves too deep in the weeds and into trouble. We drove the 2020 Nissan Versa together in Nashville, Tennessee. First of all, Nashville is the U.S. home of Nissan, so it was in their backyard. But I have to say, so a little bit of history about this car before we get into talking about it with Kerry. This vehicle was the cheapest sedan in America. I guess we should say the most economical or least expensive. They've upped the price considerably by a couple of grand for this episode, this version of the car, the 2020 version. Kerry, is it worth it?
I think it is. I really do. The thing is, with today's cars, all the safety technology that's available, it's really important, and people tend to gloss over that. And I think adding that technology in and kind of baking it in so people don't have to look at it as an option and a way to spend more by just having it available at the base level, I think it really makes it worth it.
Does anybody really buy a base car? Because this is my argument. So you go, oh, it starts at $12,500. But the truth is, do people really buy the cars? I mean, I know Mercedes, accidentally a dealer ordered a base Mercedes-Benz, an 8-base S-Class, and they couldn't do anything with it because nobody's going to buy a base car, right? So do people, even though they say it starts at $12,000 or $14,000, does anyone really buy a base car? I mean, apart from city municipalities who probably buy base cars, does anyone really buy them?
I would have to look at some data, but I actually think that in this segment that they do buy the base model. I mean, you're looking at these cars as, affordable modes of transportation. And, in this segment, in the compact segment, I really think people are looking at the base price and giving it a chance.
Yeah, and now they have a reason to buy the base vehicle because it comes with so many awesome options, doesn't it? Oh, so not options, really, I guess standard features, I should say.
Standard.
What kind of standard features?
Yeah, Kerry, tell us what you liked about the standard features.
Well, I really like that big touchscreen that you get. Right away you feel like you're not in some Econobox rental. It looks really nice. The infotainment is really easy to use. The touchscreen is responsive. So I was impressed with that right off the bat.
I think you have just found a title that I should have used in my review. Not your average Econobox rental.
Exactly. Well, you know how it is. We've all been in those cars before where you're just like, okay, there's 4 wheels and a steering wheel. I guess I'm okay.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing you should say about that is I took my spouse to Hawaii for a birthday, and I rented a Mustang convertible. Yeah, it was basically 4 wheels and a steering wheel with a top that came down. That's what you got. It was pretty disappointing. I mean, it was a GT, so it means that it was the powerful engine, the V8, but it was pretty depressing. Exterior features of the car, they beefed up the design of the 2020 Nissan Versa and made it look kind of sexy.
Yeah.
She doesn't think it's sexy.
I think that the inside efforts were much better than the exterior. I mean, you got to give it a break. It is a huge improvement over the outgoing model, but I don't know. Just my personal opinion, the proportion, they're really trying to stay at that same design language as their bigger sedans like the Altima and the Maxima, but the Versa just looks so scrunched up. The proportions are a little off.
Do you think so? I think the trunk is a bit short. But apart from that, I think the bulbous sort of hood and fenders are much better than the usual square. I mean, there's so much bad metal in that segment. There's so many cars. I mean, I hate to pick on them, but the Mitsubishi Mirai, oh, hell no. I mean, oh, hell no. I mean, I guess it's inexpensive at $12,000, but hell no.
Why?
It's
no
a 3-cylinder engine. That's the start.
Enough said.
I drove it from Carmel to San Francisco, the Mirage, and I had my foot on the floor. Yeah. It was like struggling up hills. The engine and transmission pretty good in the 2020 Nissan Versa.
Yeah, I think so. It didn't have that rattle when you got on the freeway at high speeds. It felt pretty smooth. That was a big improvement as well, because I drove the previous generation before. Once we had this epic IKEA trip where we fit all my office furniture in a little Versa.
Nice.
And as I was singing the praises of the cargo space, but man, just driving that thing, sometimes you're like, hoping the hamster makes it till you get home, you know.
Do you have like a depression hotline that you could call while you're driving? Use the Bluetooth. The real cool thing is about the environmental impact of this too, because Nissan turned it around and tried to really lessen the footprint of this vehicle. And I guess, you know, if you just need a commuter car, you get an awful lot with the Versa, and still you get less environmental impact. You get good transport. I mean, I sat in the back seats. I wouldn't be a miserable 12-year-old in the back of this car.
Why were you in the back, Nick?
Well, Kerry and I had to test out the back seats just for journalism. So you have to go.
Right.
You have to go sit in the back.
I see.
And get in the trunk. That's my favorite.
Do you get in the trunk of cars?
Yes.
I can't see myself actually managing to get into the trunk of a car.
Oh, I did it at the Nissan Altima event.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
You could
Nobody's
fit
put me
three
in
of
the
me there.
trunk. Absolutely not.
Despite the fact we've wanted to put you in the trunk of a car. We've
Whatever.
never done it.
We're going for cargo
Nick,
space.
Nick, I gotta say, I just looked the car up, and I'm not seeing sexy either.
You should look at the old one next to the new one.
Yeah, I like the new
and
one.
it got a massive dose of sexy compared
It looks
to
really small.
Well, it's the
that's-
smallest car. Like, Kerry, there's not... What's in this segment with it? The
The Hyundai Accent,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Toyota Yaris.
Oh,
What else is in there?
We're trying to sell this to Megan.
Imperial.
We're trying to sell this to Megan, who's from Texas, and she likes big trucks.
those all sound completely unacceptable.
But for what's the starting price of this, Kerry?
I think it's 14.7
Yep.
is what it starts at.
Yeah, see, 14.7. I mean, wait a second. That's in your budget for Noah.
That is in my budget.
That's in your budget for a new car for Noah.
But he's 5'9". Would he fit?
Yeah, no, it's in the
Oh,
front
yeah.
seats.
I think he would
Really
fit.
quite spacious inside?
It's not a Mustang. I know he wants a Mustang.
Dude, his head was almost touching the top of the Mustang we test drove last night.
Yeah, they are pretty small inside those Mustangs. Kerry, do you think... By the way, where can we read your review of this? Has it gone up already?
It will be going up. We do have a review up on autobyteltis.com, and then we're going to have a video as well.
Excellent. I love that part.
Yeah.
Kerry Kim from autobytel.com. You can read a lot of the really good stuff that she writes there. And Kerry, it is an absolute pleasure always having you on the show.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. Have a great day.
We will do, and hopefully we'll get a chance to drive with you next time we do some stuff. Coming up, we want to talk a little bit about the cars I've been driving, the Honda Civic and the BMW M850i. And Jen's going to tell you how she got the roof up and down in that vehicle. It's like magic. That's all coming up on the show. More Our Auto Expert. Don't forget, go to the website, listen to previous episodes of the show, and social media.
You're listening to the Our Auto Expert podcast.
Our Auto Expert continues. Here's your host, Nik Miles.
Welcome back to the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Start a conversation with us at ourautoexpert.com or catch up with previous episodes of the show at our website, ourautoexpert.com. You can hear all the past shows, see our automotive videos, and read inside car stories about our next ride, your next ride, or anybody of your friends' next ride. We will find it all at ourautoexpert.com. Megan from mummytravels.net and Jen, Truck Girl Jen, in the studio. I will tell you, Banff is a lot of fun for views, but being without cell phone service is tough.
You didn't have cell phone service up there?
No, because what happens as soon as you go on those amazing ride and drives that Volvo put together for those vehicles, that's what happens. You seem to vacate the cell phone areas. I mean, I had cell phone service when we were in the cities, but where we were on the ride and drives up in the mountains, beautiful views. Why should I be using my cell phone? Well, I have a business to run as well. So
I was going to say, when I drive with you, you make me drive, and then you just or on your cell phone the whole time.
I wish that I had a staff of 1,000 to take care of all these things, but I have like TV stations calling me like, we can't download this video, so you end up having to send them car videos and stuff. The drive is amazing. The performance of the Polestar XC60 and V60, amazing. I've got to drive the updated version of the XC90, which is their full-size SUV. That is amazing. They've changed the grille. They've updated some of the elements of the vehicle, new wheels, and then we also got to drive the Cross Country, which is the V60 version that's raised about an inch and it's got cladding on the outside. It's back. It used to be XC70 was the Cross Country, but now it's a V60 Cross Country. I would own either of the V60s, absolutely, hands down. Beautiful Swedish insides. Just things like crafted glass shifter, which comes from a really nice... I think it's a glass fashioning studio that's in Sweden that does it. So these vehicles are still the V60 put together in Sweden still, but the S60 is now made on the East Coast, so South Carolina, I believe.
I like the way their seats are made.
They're comfortable. Volvo always have comfortable seats.
Yeah, they like wrap around you.
Yeah.
And the lumbar support is pretty good too.
It's interesting that when Megan and I talk about cars, when Jen and I talk about cars,
completely different.
Yeah, I mean, what interests, especially when I talk to Megan, the first thing she goes to is there are vents in the back so my kids don't throw up, and is there enough places to plug in their phone? And I'm like, hey, does it go fast?
Imagine a trip, Nick, where we drove across the state with them and they didn't have power or air.
Oh my goodness me! Were you like wanting to commit some crimes against your children by the time you got to where you were going?
It would be bad. It would just be a disaster.
Is it? Your children are very vocal. You've taught them to speak up when they don't like something.
Why, yes, I have.
Which I don't like about your kids. Like they'll tell me when they don't like something I do.
Yeah.
They're pretty awesome kids. By the way, how are you doing with finding a car for Noah?
Well, we're still looking. So we went and test drove a Mustang last night.
And?
He liked it, but then we asked for the VIN number so that we could do the
check.
Yeah, where you check.
You can see the VIN number on the windshield. It's you just take a picture of it.
But we didn't take a picture of it. So then we had to ask the guy, and he told us that he'd had a small fender bender. Like the front end of that car was gone in the pictures that we found. So I was like, oh,
nope,
we can't buy
this.
Move
on. Nope.
But it's interesting. Like maybe
First of all, he told you that when he gave you the VIN number.
No, right before we went test drove it, he said that it had a small fender bender.
Okay. Yeah, small fender bender and the front missing are two different things. Buying a car is hard.
Buying a car is hard. And when you look at those reports, like how do you determine how much damage is too much damage when it's been repaired?
There are several sites, and we should talk about this and maybe have somebody on there. Several sites that will tell you whether that car should have been written off, what the loss value was from the accident.
Oh, wow, I had no idea.
How much less the car is worth now because it had the accident. There are those. Several of those websites you can go to.
Ironically, the car that we test drove right before the one we test drove last night was a Volvo, a used Volvo. And I just really love Volvo.
I do too.
It's a well-made car.
But also remember, when you're buying the first car for your kid, Jen's been through this, you're about to go through this, the repair bill is an absolute something you have to think about. And make sure that the cost of ownership of the car that you buy is also not going to cripple you. Because if you buy a vehicle where parts are difficult, where they don't stock them anymore, where labor's tough, something that's complicated, that's going to go wrong a lot of times, it's going to be expensive to fix.
Right.
You have to fix older cars. That's just part of life. But if you buy an older car that's going to be a luxury vehicle that maybe the parts aren't available for, and it costs you, $1,000 to do something that would cost you $180 in a Japanese or American, not luxury vehicle. That's something you got to remember. Things to think about when you buy a new car. Of course, Jen bought an American car for her son, so everything was fine. XT5 is a new Cadillac, got refresh from mid-cycle. We're going to talk to James Hunter about that coming up on Our Auto Expert.
You're listening to Our Auto Expert.
It's Our Auto Expert with Nik Miles.
Welcome back to the show. Locally created, nationally celebrated from the Northwest and the Southeast. This is America's Car Radio Show. If it has a throttle, we'll basically talk about it. I had a lot of fun being in Washington, D.C. area, the vineyards of Virginia, driving the Cadillac XT6, which was a lot of fun. But at that time, I got to see the brand new Cadillac XT5 as well, which sort of was revealed at that portion to us. I mean, it's not the first time anybody's seen it, but this has been a very big winner for Cadillac. It's sort of that perfect size for most growing families to get into, and I actually probably would own one of these. I'm a big fan of Cadillac, and since sedans started to sort of drift away in popularity, Cadillac launched the XT5, followed by the XT4, and now the XT6, so they have a full lineup. James Hunter joining us on the phone. James, has the XT5 been a big hit for Cadillac?
Oh, yes, it has, Nick. Hey, thanks for having me, and I'm excited to talk about the XT5, just as we were excited about launching the XT6. But yes, the XT5, well, we really launched the front-wheel drive version back in 2009, and it was bashed the SRX, okay? And we changed the name when we went to the C1 architecture for the 2017 model year, where we renamed it the XT5. But over the entire horizon, it's been Cadillac's volume leader, and it's been a workhorse for us here in the division.
And so you've got a sort of a refresh this year for the next model year. And tell us a little bit about what you changed on the vehicle, because I thought it was pretty perfect, but you updated it a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. We've been in the segment for a while now, so we took all the learnings over the life cycles. And for the 2020 model year XT5, we kind of focused around packaging, technology and features, and refinement. So for the model year 20, we offer a new package, what we call Sport, that goes along with the premium luxury. And then the Sport and the premium luxury models are differentiated by design elements, both exterior and interior, and then also from a performance standpoint as well. So we ushered out the new design language for the grills. So in 20 model year, you see a new interpretation of the front grille. We made the LED headlamps and the LED signature lamps and the LED corner lamps all standard. Each model reflects that headlamp setup. And then further differentiation took place on the side, where when you look at the premium lux, you look at more of a chrome or ornate type appointments in the DLO and the side molding as such. For the Sport model, we kind of focus on more of a stealth, more of a muted look, in that we carry over the black gloss molding around the windows that ties into the black grille. And then we also have specific wheels, new designs for both the Premium Lux and the Sport. So as you can see, although it's not a major, we did a lot of things from a packaging standpoint and to create a more broader spectrum of product offering to appeal to a broader customer base. I can go on and on and on. We got technology. We added technology and infotainment 3.5. Everything that we offered in the XT6, we pulled it down to the XT5. We also made a lot of safety features standard. For example, forward collision alert with pedestrian braking. The safety alert seat goes along with that. And we also have features like a telebeam that we made standard as well.
A what?
And then the refinement comes when we added a 9-speed transmission that allows a more smooth and predictable torque delivery, and it's just on and on and on. So we from a packaging standpoint, technology and features and refinement, we improved the ride and handling characteristics, provided more isolation into the cabin by putting in place noise abatement type initiatives. So although it's not overhaul, we took an already good product and made it better.
I have 1,000,001 questions. First of all, Megan and Jen in the studio with us here,
Sure.
they wanted to know what IntelliBeam was, because they don't understand what that is.
Okay, wait a minute.
Sure.
Wait,
I didn't say that.
Oh, no. Megan wants to know. Jen's now claiming that she's all good with that.
It was me.
Okay, you okay? It's just auto headlamps. It's automatically turns on your high beam headlamps and turns it off when oncoming traffic. So you don't have to activate the switch.
What about your windshield wipers? I really like that feature because it rains where I live every day.
Oh,
the rain sense. Yes. The rain sense with auto dry.
It's the little things.
The moisture and activates the windshield wiper, and then it also pump the caliper to dry off the brake caliper.
Yeah.
The drum to provide a.
Megan likes it when
brake.
the car does everything automatically. She's much happier that way too, James. I will tell you that one of the things that
Are you calling me lazy?
Yes, I'm calling you lazy on the air. One of the things I love about the Cadillac is doing is where it automatically pairs your phone with a near field communication in the XT6 and the Ford. Does it do that in the XT5?
Yes, it does. Yep. We introduced it with you guys back in DC, and XT5 features the same feature, near field communications, just by tapping the logo. Of course, you appropriately put your settings on, turn them to NFC on in your phone settings, and just simply hold it up to the NFC, and it automatically pairs.
It's amazing. So I get into these new cars all the time, and I always need to pair my cell phone. With the Cadillacs, I just basically tap my cell phone on the dash on where the sign is, and it pairs automatically.
But you have an Android.
Well, it does it. It does it with anything that has near field communication. And the thing about this is, I use like Google Pay all the time and Samsung Pay. So I have my near-field communication turned on all the time. So when I tap it on the car, it just does the pairing. And I showed it in the video that I did of the car, where we did it on the Fox Morning News stations. And everyone was just like, the anchors were calling me going, wait, when you get into a car, you just tap it? Yeah, you do. But for me, it's great because I get into when you have a car and you own it, you probably don't need to pair the car all the time. That is one of the features I love about it. One of the features I was hoping that Cadillac was going to filter out of the XT6 is the Super Cruise, which is the pretty much the most advanced semi-autonomous feature, semi-autonomous driving. That didn't arrive in the XT5. Is there any sign that Super Cruise may drift out of the out of the CT6 in any time in the future?
So of course, that's a very popular technology for us, and it's garnering great reviews. And then we announced the fact that XT6 will also feature, and we are understudying all the opportunities where we can deploy this technology. And at this time, we have no announcement outside of what we've just announced, but suffice it to say that it definitely
You know, everybody in the world wants it, James. I'm just telling you.
Yep. I get it, and that's a good problem to have. We're working and trying to prioritize and execute, and I'm sure there'll be more discussions and announcements. So.
All right, I'm going to hold my breath until you do it. I'm just going to hold my breath until you do it.
He's not going to do it.
So, James, didn't you add a different engine this year?
Oh yes, yep. We we added a 2-liter turbocharged motor, and this engine is offered as the standard motor on our luxury model and the standard motor on our premium luxury model. So we're excited about this new engine that we will be offered, not on sale just yet. In another few months, we have it in the market. And then, of course, we have the proven 3.6 that's been been well received since we launched the XT5. And then again, we married both motors with the General Motors 9-speed that's new for Cadillac. And it's just a great pairing for both powertrains.
I don't think many people realize that having a 9-speed makes so much of a difference to driving. Like, it's so much smoother. You hardly notice the changes.
Right. Yes, it provides a broader bandwidth for the development team to really tune in that driving characteristic that you come to know as a pleasurable experience. Predictable torque deliveries, linear, smooth, responsive, and then they're able to tune in different driving characteristics if you get the premium luxury, or then if you get the sport. Which features the twin-clutch sport control all-wheel drive system with the chassis damping control. It just allows them to really bring it home in terms of developing the optimum vehicle dynamic setup.
One of the things that's funny for me is that because cars like Cadillac are getting so good now, that people can be worse drivers and you don't notice so often.
Yes, good point. Good point. That twin clutch active drive control, it kind of makes up for some mistakes if you don't hit the corner right, the apex, and got the right throttle and the right thing going on in these turns. We got systems to help you out there, so you're absolutely right there, Nick.
And you can feel it very well too. Very, very much when you drive those. I always see the proof of the pudding of driving a car is on a canyon road, and driving those roads in the XT6 you really proved what a great vehicle it was, because we have windy roads up to the vineyard. I haven't driven the new XT5 yet, and I haven't test drove that new engine, but I'm sure that's going to be a surprise too. And I have to tell you that I'm a big fan of blacking out vehicles now. It's sort of the super fashion, doing either bronze or black on a vehicle, and I love the fact that you're doing that in the sport now, because it appeals to sort of a younger generation. The older generation tends to like the chrome, and the younger generation likes the black. And it's funny because my spouse likes the chrome and I like the blackout, so I painted the wheels black on my SUV.
Right.
And
when in the luxury space, it's all about choice.
Yeah.
And if you plan in that universe, you want a palette so people can pick something that best fit them, and allowing us to appeal to just a broader customer base. And the sport and the premium luxury models allow us to do that.
Excellent, James. Where can we find out more about the XT5?
Well, Cadillac.com for starters, and you would find more about the all-new, the powertrain, as well as the new technologies and the new packaging that we announced for both the XT5 and XT6, and any other Cadillac products that you may be interested in. So, Cadillac.com.
Super Cruise, come on, Super Cruise. We want to see that in those vehicles. James.
Yep.
It's a great pleasure having you on. Thank you for joining us today.
Having me. You bet.
And of course, thank you. You can go to our website, ourautoexpert.com, and you can see the video that I did in the XT6, and probably your local Fox station will have it on their website as well. You can see that. I do enjoy what they've done, and seems to have come a long way with a lot of the technology in those brand new vehicles. Coming up on the show, it's packed for the next hour or so. We're going to bridge the news, and then we're going to talk about Formula IndyCar. We're going to talk about fun facts. We're going to have one of the drivers on. That's all coming up on the show.
You've been listening to Our Auto Expert with Nik Miles. Find all the show episodes at ourautoexpert.com. Please follow us on all social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Our Auto Expert, and message us for a quick and witty response.